Thank you guys for coming out tonight. Um, and as you can see, the being art to activism working like all around City Hall. That's amazing. But it's still sad at the same time because we shouldn't have to do none of this. Like this is ridiculous. These are our loved ones. And this is sad. It feels like nothing's changing, nothing's getting better. It seems like it's getting worse. And that's the saddest part for me. The fact that nothing's changing. And they're playing with our lives. They meet with our families. They promise us stuff. They say they're going to do this. They say they're going to do that, and they don't do nothing. It's like they had a meeting before the meeting where they know that they're not going to do absolutely anything, but then they want to meet with you to have you in a calm state of mind, and it's ridiculous. This is so sad. I just can't believe my family has coming up on 10 years. In the day, unfortunately, I lost another family member who will not get to see accountability for my big brother Tyrone West. And that was my brother's first cousin, which is my cousin. But it's just sad, it's disgusting. And all these people can do is just laugh in our face and it's just I don't even know what to say at this point. Like you would think, and I'm thinking back like when my brother was first murdered, I really thought that I had faith in the system. I'm not even gonna lie. I really had faith in the system, especially since the fact that my brother was an unarmed man. He wasn't doing anything wrong. They had video footage, and numerous witnesses out there on Kentmore Causeway. I felt hopeful. I felt like, yeah, they're gonna do the right things. And to this day, we still don't have NAM video. They're hiding everything. And then we keep seeing all these commissioners change and change and change with all the corruption. And for them to have Worley as active commissioner, are you kidding me? A piece of trash, leading trash. That's disgusting. And then the fact, if you can't see in this recent just works of being active person, whatever, I'm just like all over the place because my mind is on my family right now. But just as him being the active commissioner with the latest tragic shooting, he's blaming everything but the police department for neglecting, for purely neglecting those people that were affected by the whole community. Here we are with a curfew that they're strict on. When they come down to Ann Arbor City Hall, they get the calls, they clam out fast. And you have innocent people lives stolen. A beautiful young lady that just graduated from high school that had plans to go to college, a young man, life gone. And all that Woody can say is, oh, well, it should have been. No, they knew about this hours. We heard the audio. And if you haven't heard the audio, they knew something was going down. You heard the audio tapes from them. And the audio tape said there was over 900 to 1,000 people down there. It was sort of been violence. They knew, and nobody showed up. No one. And that is so disgusting. And they ain't even catch no one. How you gonna keep telling family members that we're gonna investigate? You ain't doing nothing. It's just sad and disgusting. So now we have people that were just, you can't even be at a cookout, a black party without somebody. And it seems like that's the latest trend nowadays. If you look at what's going on in Philadelphia, just all over the world, it's different stuff. And it's all these mass shootings. You know why they're happy? Because nobody's saw them. Nobody's taking time. It depends on whoever gets shot up. And it's sad. Welcome to America. It's disgusting. Everybody deserves a chance of happiness. Everybody deserves a chance to be treated with respect and to feel safe. And it's sad that I don't feel safe here for my kids, my family. I don't feel safe. And it's sad because it's not a Baltimore thing. I feel like there's nowhere in the world that I'm guaranteed full safety for me and my family. Because if that was the case, I would have probably packed up a long time ago just to make sure my family was safe. Come back, visit you, West Swansea type of thing. But my family would have been out of here. But where do we go? When hatred follows us everywhere, when injustice follows us everywhere, where do you go at? And tonight I feel so sad, and I think I'm all over the place because I really feel sorry because Darnell Rochester's mom is here. And for her son to be murdered the way he was, a beautiful child murdered, and nobody's doing nothing. And we saw the videos. We know it was murder, bloody murder. and they're doing nothing about it. And she's forced every week to come out for her son. And it goes past this a weekly thing. Y'all might see us on a weekly thing, but we're every day trying to figure out how we gonna get accountability, who we gonna talk to, who we gonna call, what we gonna do. And nobody's doing anything. And it's just sad, it's disgusting, and it's heartbreaking. But I'm gonna bring his beautiful mom out, and I just commend her. I probably got to give her a minute. But Sister Queen, whenever you're ready to come up here, the mic is all yours. But it's just saying nobody. Like, I know what it feels like to lose my big brother who was like a father to me, but I would never want to know what it feels like to lose a child. It's just sad. So like I said, I give it up to all the mothers that have to, unfortunately, and the fathers, because it's not just the mothers, his father, because Shorty had to bury his son. So any parent that has to bury their children, I really feel sorry for you, because it's supposed to be our children are burying us. We should never have to bury our babies. And we should never have to bury a loved one because of police brutality, police terrorism, police bloody murder, Jim Crow. We should never have to bury our loved ones because of this capitalist system. And that's what it's about. That's what it all boils down to, no matter how much I try to circle the wagon and pretend that I don't know better, but I know better. It has nothing to do with nothing. Everything's based upon this capitalist racist system. And it's time that we smash it and trash it, because it ain't no fixing this. There's no fixing this. You cannot, certain things you can fix, but some things you just can't fix. It's just trash. Throw it in the trash, knock it down, build it back up. That's where I'm at with it. Because these killer cops feel comfortable with killing our loved ones. We read y'all list of names week after week. That is so sad and heartbreaking. And it shows you their comfort level. Last week we read somebody on that list like that was 80-something years old. You live to be 83 years old to be murdered by police officers? Like, you fight through survival. Just imagine your grandmother, your grandfather, make it to see their 83rd birthday. And they're wiped out by people that's supposed to serve and protect. They're not serving and protecting us. They're serving and protecting themselves. And I really feel sorry for the very few that really take their job serious. But if you take your job serious and you see anybody killing somebody or doing any type of foolishness and you don't report it, you're just as guilty. You're just as guilty. The blood is on your hands more. It's just like a big gang. It's a legalized gang. That's all it is. It's a legalized gang. I feel like they dropped their white KKK, outfits, and they threw on the blue uniforms. That's what they did. That's what they did. And it's sad they don't even end in the department, the police department. You have to worry about the judges, the lawyers, everybody, the coroner, the medical examiner. David Fowler, who covered up. He's the reason why 10 years later we're still fighting for accountability. He went so far to have Pamela Southall lie for the 17 bloody murderers that murdered my brother. And he lied to get them all. And then we had racist Greg Bernstein that swept it. He knew what happened. He didn't give a damn. And I heard that he just rolled past. I wish I would have saw him. It's just like my brother just bought me the best shirt ever, and I think I'm wearing them on. It said Hood and Holy. Don't pray for me. It said pray for me, don't play with me, or something to the lines of that. But in reality, like, after a while, you get tired of praying. You get tired of these people praying for you. I'm never like giving up on God, and I'm never giving up on my integrity, because if I do, that's the minute I turn just like that. And it's just sad that we're going through the things that we're going through, and nobody gets accountable. And the fact that they leave our loved ones out there to die, like literally, they left my brother on Kentmore Causeway, which Good Sam Hospital is less than 3 minutes away. They left him out there. The only reason why the paramedics showed up at the scene, they didn't show up because my brother took so many haymakers and was pepper sprayed and was tased and was beat. I mean, I don't even want to get into details because I don't want to traumatize nobody or myself. But the way that he really needed medical treatment, they deprived him of it. They didn't call medical treatment for him. They called medical treatment for one of the cops that were murdering my brother, Nicholas Davis Chapman, who sprayed so much of that chemical stuff that it got in his eyes. They didn't give a damn about my brother. My brother was laying there down like a gapping fish on the ground, as witnesses described. Sorry to be so discreet. But they did not. They didn't even care to get her medical treatment. Then they want to pretend once the witnesses start coming out and wonder. Then they want to pretend. They knew at that point they should have put the black little thing over top because he was dead on Kentmore Cowswood. Don't play with nobody. Act like he died. Just say he was dead on arrival. He was dead on arrival. No one could have survived that type of pain, trauma, torture. No one could have survived that. No one. Unarmed, one man beat to death and then left out there to die. And they ain't even try to do nothing. Then they want to try to pretend when the cameras are out like it's sad. It's disgusting. The ones they kill our loved ones, they be the ones trying to resuscitate them. Why go that far? Why? All you got to do is don't kill them. Don't inflict that type of pain or harm, and you won't have to come and pretend like you putting, covering up their wounds or giving them CPR. You don't have to play the game. It's just sad and disgusting, but they only do that so the community can stay calm. And that's why the city hall and all them here for us to stay calm, like they're going to really do something. They ain't doing nothing. They can't even protect our community. Certain communities are safe. They ain't got to worry about a massive shooting happening because so much of things are happening where as though people are on watch and on point, but certain neighbors, they don't care. And we talk about a teenage curfew, that's a joke. Even though I wouldn't even want them touching or interfering with our babies because they don't give a damn. But the fact you pretend like, oh, you can't know, you just don't want certain things to happen down the hall or Fells Point, but you didn't give a darn about the massacre. And that's what I'm going to call it, the bloody massacre that happened in Brooklyn. You didn't give a damn about it. You left everybody to die and everybody to fend for their own. And I thank God we don't have 30 bodies because we could have easily had 30 bodies. I'm so sorry for the two beautiful king and queen that passed away, but we could have had 30 bodies. They didn't care. A whole massacre going on while they just ignored the call. They got that call hours before saying, hey, and then I heard them say, don't go down there. What? What in the world have they ever said don't go down there? But when they think the kids are coming to the harbor for Easter or to celebrate, or they want to go down there. They doing this. They
Thank y'all. Thank you, Tawanda. And All Lives Matter, Tyrone West, Donna Rochester, Freddie Gray, Timothy Flemings. If I miss names, I know I am because it's too many. But justice for all victims of police brutality.
That was beautiful. And then it said, like my sister just said, why should we have to train our babies how to talk and, to the killers that are playing Russian roulette? Because let the truth show and reflect. To July the 18th, when my brother was doing everything right by complying to what they said. He came before he pulled over. Once he realized that it was in an unmarked car, but once he realized at that point that they were law enforcement officers, he immediately pulled over by a stop sign. He immediately put his hands out, turned the console on in my car so that they could see that he was an unarmed man. And they still killed him. So it don't matter. So if they want to take our life, it don't matter if you comply. It doesn't even matter because they're going to do what they want to do. And that's sad. But I do still have that conversation with my children. If they, first thing I tell them, call me. Because as soon as I see it, then it's sad because now you're at the job place. Now they just say, yo, you can't have your phone in the classroom. Y'all want to write me up. Because I'm going to have my phone on me all the time if it's hitting in my bra, wherever. However, I'm going to have, because I got that fear of if one of my children are getting pulled over by the police or something happening in the street, you got to worry about everything. You ain't just got to worry about the police. And like today, it's so sad that when my cousin was calling me back to back at work, I started crying before I answered the phone because I knew something wasn't right. Because she don't never hang up and call me back to back. So when she kept ringing my phone, I'm like, I said a prayer like, God, please don't have to tell me nothing crazy. And she told me about my cousin being passed out. He's passed away. But it's just sad we got to live like that. That's not living. That's not living at all. Mic check.
Mic check.
Hey, everybody. No justice?
No peace.
No justice?
No peace.
So I wanted to talk, Tawanda asked me to talk about, and forgive me, I think this is how you pronounce it, Nael Mercuz, who was murdered in a suburb outside of France. And there are so many things that are typical of how police think they're enforcing justice, street justice, and this is not just an American problem. And I was kind of thinking about a couple of things that you said. Last time, or one of the last times we were here, it wasn't one Baltimore City police officer that pulled up, but it was 3 officers. I don't think you remember that. And I had walked over and asked them why they had any business here, that we were assembling peacefully and rightfully, that our right to do so. And they said, well, we have a right to be here too. And I said, well, but don't you have some business to take care of? So it's not about your rights. You have some business to take care of. And they said, yes, a part of our job is to protect City Hall. And so I said, well, shouldn't you be protecting the citizens of Baltimore, not a building? This is not the way to help us and keep peace in our city and keep people feeling safe, which is what you're supposed to be doing. And they just ignored me, of course. The other thing that I was thinking about, we just saw a show last night, and I'll get back to the other sad, tragic loss in France, but it was about a community in Massachusetts, in Lowell, Massachusetts, and there's and this is kind of connected to that story too, there are Cambodian immigrants who were refugees and had settled in Lowell, Massachusetts, and of course that caused folks who lived there to push back on immigrants being able to settle there and to have services and all the things to live their lives, like any other American, and forced a lot of them to, especially young folks, to join gangs and to protect their families and their interests. And again, a lot of them were jailed, and they were subjugated to police brutality, etc. And the one young man who's now working to help and support his community, the quote that he said was, "They tried to bury us, but they didn't realize we were seeds." And so I think, our fight, they're not gonna stop us. There's no way to stop us, because they're picking on the wrong people. And I think, Tawanda, I can't say how much respect and I have for you, and just that you've fought for this many years, and there's no give up in you. I will support you until we get some kind of accountability, or the right kind of accountability. Let me say that. So Nael was a young Algerian and Moroccan young man, and it's kind of interesting. In France, this is kind of it's old news, but this is how things get baked into our mindset, the mindset of people who live in certain places, especially related to people who are considered outsiders. The French and the Algerians had a war. The Algerians were colonized by the French, and the Algerians eventually got their independence. And there's a lot of hatred in France still. So Algerians and other immigrants who live out in the suburbs of Paris are again subjected to a lot of mistrust and poor treatment and police intervention, just like in Baltimore, right? Those people who are not considered the old Baltimore. And of course, we have a very clear kind of racist history about our black citizens, but in this suburb, they're generally do kind of traffic stops, but it's mostly the Muslim residents. It's kind of like routine stops that they do. And Nael was stopped, and he started to drive off. He got scared, and when he started to drive off, he was shot by a police officer. Murdered. And I'm glad Danielle used that word, because murder is the right word. And of course, when the initial reports came out, they said that Nael was trying to run down an officer. Sounds familiar, right? Same story. And in this case, fortunately, just kind of like in George Floyd's case, there was a witness, and the woman, who's unnamed, took a video which showed a completely different story. He was stopped, and the officer had already pulled out a weapon on the passenger side of the vehicle, which is very clearly in the video. And as soon as he started to drive, started just shooting into the car. So it wasn't anything, but it's just unfortunate, right? So in your mind, you think, okay, so there's this video of this case. How many times has this happened? And there's just no videos, right? There's just not any evidence. And I think people know enough, particularly in the suburbs, of this behavior by the police and the government. And this was one too many, the straw that broke the camel's back, and it was on video, just like in the case of George Floyd. And there's been massive protests in Paris, particularly. People are angry, and they're showing their anger, which they should. They have every right to. And of course, this has caused the police to now shoot at with rubber bullets and explosives and other devices to try to break up the protests. Yes, sick behavior. So it's just the same old story, really. It is this police culture. Even those good cops, like you're talking about, the few that are good cops, they get integrated into the same. They know what the culture is when they get there. They learn what it is they're being trained to do, and so they just act accordingly. And so there's, if we have to stop Muslims, we'll stop Muslims on the street. That's what we're told to do. And then if they do anything, shoot and ask questions later. So it's just a reflection of to me, like that's not about America necessarily, but it's about policing everywhere and what people have to face, and it's just got to end. And I don't know if there'll be other big street protests here, but I'm ready. I know we are, but whatever we got to do to make this change, because it can't keep happening. And what is he? Interim Chief Worley is not the answer.
No, he's
Not the answer. So So I don't even know if there's hearings or anything, or if there's a hiring process. They're not even. they're just gonna. Yeah, there's a transfer of power. There's just walk on in.
That's not how it's supposed to go, though.
Right. But what has he done to earn this? I haven't heard no one has heard anything that says, oh, this guy, wow, this Richard Worley, he's going to change things in Baltimore. No, dude, you've been here since this all has been happening.
25 years.
Yeah, 25 years.
But he gets it because he.
What is Brandon Scott doing exactly? Come on, Brandon. Get a clue. Shame on you, exactly. Shame on Brandon Scott.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's all a repeat. Exactly. Just throw it back on the record player. Start all over again. All right, Shorty.
In 2006, they made the Stop Snitching video where they wanted everybody to tell on everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's when Governor O'Malley had Stop and Frisk and Zero Tolerance. They had Stop and Frisk and Zero Tolerance to create their prison industry. They went to school to prison pipeline. They didn't care about the schools then. They don't care about the schools now. You got people that in their 30s can't read with that grade level that they left with. And they ain't talking about
there were 4 or 5 officers involved. He was apparently picked up on a drug charge. I don't know how long ago, but he was due in court on July 13th. And one of the officers on the scene, Matthew Banocy, that's his name, Banocy. Officer Matthew Banocy was involved in his arrest for the drugs. Now they claim that they had a warrant for him. Now, if he's already due in court on the 13th, why they got a warrant? And why they sitting out there like pretty much stalking this guy? So now I don't know if they were uniformed cops or not. I have no idea if they were one of those DAT teams or warrant apprehension or whatever, but those warrant apprehension officers and all of those direct action teams, whatever the hell they want to call it, which is just reconfigured GTTF, they don't wear police uniforms. They wear plain clothes or whatever. So now you're this guy in the car. Now they also claim in the initial reporting, they don't know how his vehicle became like unresponsive. Like his vehicle just like was sideways or whatever. I mean, it didn't just stop on its own, so something had to have happened. And then a witness from the neighborhood said that there wasn't any break in the firing of bullets. He just heard long strings of firing. Now, if this guy gets in his car and he's driving off and they disable his car, who knows if they disabled his car? How else did his car get disabled? And they're plain clothes. They have guns. Does this dude think he's getting robbed? You know, he can't. He's not here to tell his story. You know, I mean, it's just conjecture at this point. But you know, apparently they claim he pulled out his own firearm, and there was an exchange of gunfire, and in the middle of a Patterson Park neighborhood, just shooting willy nilly. You know, the cops shooting back at him, whatever, and killed him on the spot. But he ain't here to tell his story. And there's no video, apparently, unless they were wearing body cams. But you know what they do. They alter that and get it to tell their narrative as well. So, I mean, I just was struck by the similarities between they claim they were serving a warrant and they recognize them. Well, yeah, because the cop that arrested them for the drugs was on the scene and one of the shooters. So who knows what was going to happen on that case on the 13th. Right. You know, and like Shorty says, end the war on drugs and you won't have these problems. Because like, why are we still locking up people for drugs? Why are we still locking up people for drugs? Yeah, I mean, weed's legal now. I mean, we don't know what kind of drugs, but still, you know, I mean, the drugs get in here somehow, and it, you know, it isn't by regular people. You know, you got the government, the DEA, all that involved. So, I mean, we could just go on forever and ever about this, but you know, I'm just saying that the similarities between the narrative that they spun out there on the street with the police tape around to when they shot Darnell is striking. It's striking. You know, are they ever going to show the warrant they supposedly had for Mr. Gamble? Are they ever going to like prove that that's what they were there for, or were they stalking this guy? Like, you have no idea. But you know, I'm sure his name is going to be on one of our lists today, probably the national list. But, you know, that's all. I mean, I just was really struck by the similarities and how like, anytime I do take the mic, I talk about how the media feeds their narrative. They just, and they don't even put two and two together that I already told this story in this case, in this case, in this case. I already told this other story in that case, and that case. If you string them all together and you see the similarities, it's not a coincidence. It's just a template that they use, and they hand it over to the media, and the media runs with it to villainize the victim. I mean, was the guy a saint? No. But how do we know? How do we know that he didn't think he was getting robbed? How do we know? We don't. How do we know, that this young man in France wasn't petrified that somebody's sticking a gun through his passenger window? How do we know that, Donnell was petrified that these men in black clothing are coming at his car? Like, they're not here to tell their stories. Justice for all victims of police brutality. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check. Do anybody else want to add or say anything? Mic check.
Mic check.
I just wanted to make an announcement. I'm Gretchen, and I organize with Financial Justice. And so every year, this will be the 4th time, we do a run and a walk near the anniversary of Tyrone's murder. And so this year is going to be on Saturday, July 15th. We're going to meet at 7 o'clock at Lake Montebello. It's the entrance by 33rd and Hillen. And it's been 10 years. This year it'll be 10 years since Tyrone was killed. And we want to make sure that the city and the community knows that we have not forgotten. We want to make sure that Ivan Bates knows we haven't forgotten his promises. Anthony Brown knows we haven't forgotten his promises. Mayor Scott right here, all of them like to wear the mask when they're running for office. And then they do nothing when they get in the seat. And so we want them to know. We'll do a 10K and a 5K. You can walk, you can run, you can ride a bike. Everyone's welcome. So it'll be Saturday, July 15th at 7 o'clock, Lake Montebello.
AM or PM?
AM. It's not that. AM. And I just want to thank Gretchen, who, like I said, she's been doing it for 4 years, running. Thank you so much. I just want to thank the West Coalition for all y'all support. Just everybody. And I just want to give a big shout out to everybody out here tonight. Thank you so much. Do anybody else have anything that they want to share? Mic check.
Mic check.
Yeah, I just wanted to call people's attention to an article I saw today in the Post. If you get a chance to read it, it's about a fellow who was he was out talking to some friends, and they heard gunshots, and so he started running, and he heard someone yelling, "Drop the gun!" And so he's running even faster, and it turned out there was a cop behind him who shot him in the back, and he lived, but he's now paralyzed from the waist down, and he's got huge medical problems, and just his relationship with his girlfriend has ended, and all sorts of other horrible things, and he had no idea. He was just running away, not even, he apparently, the cop was at a different place and was running towards the sound of the shots and saw him running by in a different direction and thought he had a gun. He never said, to stop. He never said, anything about him as a person, like, you with the brown shirt, stop, or anything like that. He just said, drop the gun, and then he shot him. And of course, the guy didn't have a gun. And so, but now he's just like, he's in a wheelchair for the rest of his life for no reason whatsoever. And we talk a lot about, people who are killed and people who are and their families and so forth. But this is another person that we're not going to talk about him again. But yet, thousands of times this happens. Someone who survives, who's maimed or, injured or disabled. And these people, they have to get on with their lives. And this is just what the system does to people. And so I just advise you all to read that. It's on the front page of today's Post, and it's a really important story for us all to keep in mind. So thank you very much. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
So I just want y'all to focus in on these. This is our wall of shame, and this is some of the 17 animals that murdered my brother, Tyrone West, one unarmed male. And you see them holding out their hands. Some of them got pepper spray, mace, all type of stuff on their hand, bloody hands. These are the bloody murderers. This is some of them. Some of the bloody murderers that murdered my brother. Like, you can't make this up. And they going on with their life. And meanwhile, my brother's children are without their father. I'm without my brother. My family's without our loved one. And these animals still get to go back to their family. It's very sad and disgusting. Thank you, brother. And I want to give a shout out to our brother Judith, who's always online watching us, but he's here in person. He does a lot, and with uplifting Freddie Gray name and just all the victims of police brutality. So thank you so much for your contribution of loyalty to all the victims of police brutality. We appreciate you. All right, so at this moment, I want to open up the mic. Does anybody want to say anything before we go to our sad list? Okay, so I'm going to read our statement real fast. It is the mission of the West Coalition to work for accountability for Tyrone West and all the victims of police brutality. We believe there is a connection between police brutality and community violence. Police can use de-escalation strategies to diffuse situations without necessarily using force. And we encourage community members to resolve disputes without violence. We care deeply about the families impacted by police brutality and community violence. We seek to uplift the names of their loved ones from a place of respect and care. We obtain list names of those shot and killed by police and those lost to community violence from national and local news outlets. We know that these are by no means exhausted lists, and that gun violence isn't the only way that people are murdered. We do not obtain detailed information about the circumstances surrounding each of these deaths or the people who died. By reading these names, we are not condoning violence, behavior, or any part of anyone involved in any situation. So again, if you want to step away, if this might be traumatizing or whatever to you, this is your moment to step away. We're gonna take a minute, guys. If you're into prayer, say a prayer. If not, that's fine. Send positive vibes, positive energy, because at this time we need it. Keep my family in prayer tonight, because again, I lost one of my cousins, and I'm still trying to learn details and everything. And it's sad that my family has to plan another funeral, and again, they won't get to see accountability. My cousin Boo will not get to see accountability for his cousin, his first cousin, Tyrone West. Disgusting. But anyway, let's take a minute, start now. Mic check.
Mic check.
Thank you guys so much. So, Brian, do you have the sad list for community violence? Mic check.
Mic check.
Before I pass Brian the mic, I want to give our sister Queen Danielle a big shout out for all your strength, your love, and just know that your son is super proud of you. Just know that he's looking down, smiling. He didn't die in vain, and I'm just so honored every time I see you. Even though it's painful when we meet, but I just love you dearly, and just keep your fighting. If there's anything that we can do, you got us 100%. Mic check.
Mic check.
Okay, this is the list of people who died by community violence the past week here in Baltimore. I'd ask you to just echo their names back in a recognition of their humanity. Theodore Foreman.
Theodore Foreman.
Tommy Anderson.
Tommy Anderson.
Frizzle I. Towns, Jr.,
Frizzle I. Towns Jr.
Deveron Rowley,
Deveron Rawling.
Stephen Johnson,
Stephen Johnson.
Devontae Rouse,
Devontae Rouse.
Kylis Fagbem,
Kylis Fagbem.
Elia Gonzalez,
Elia Gonzalez.
Michael Rao,
Michael Raub.
and I don't have him on my list, but I'm going to add Daryl Gamble.
Daryl Gamble.
Thank you.
Mic check.
Mike check.
Falls to me to talk about those who've been killed by police around the country. And unfortunately, the list has only been slightly updated since last week. And we have the name of one person. Every person, of course, is very important. But I'm sure there are others that we don't yet know about. So if we could uphold the name of this person, 53 years old, Apache Junction, Arizona, killed by police, Daniel Barnes.
Daniel Barnes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And again, if you didn't hear your loved one, and we know that people were killed in our community in different places, and we so sorry that their name wasn't on our list. We still keep you guys up in prayer. We still keep you guys in thought. Your loved one life mattered. And if there's anything that we could do to help you guys, please reach out. You can reach out to me on Instagram, West Wednesday. You can Justice for Tyrone West. We're here to help. So remember, live to love to live. I love you all. We will see you guys next West Wednesday. Mic check.
Mike check.